Hello. So it's Friday. Hurrah. We've nearly got through another week if you work Monday to Friday like most of us. And I hope that means you don't work at a weekend. I know sometimes work slips into the weekend, but I'm really passionate about boundaries and helping you to show up as yourself with the courage to be you and have those boundaries so that you can really separate work from home and have real presence when you're at home. So that's one thing. But today I'm going to build on the drama triangle I talked about yesterday. Yesterday I talked about, and you can catch it in the recording, but yesterday I talked about the roles we play when we slip into victim, when we slip into persecutor, when we slip into rescuing, and how to move into the winner's triangle. So today I'm going to talk a bit more on that, about the winner's triangle. What does it mean? So I think what happens is when we move into the drama triangle, we take on these roles, as I discussed yesterday, of rescuing and victim and persecutor. And that's when it gets out of hand, when the bullying can start, the toxic leadership. There's no such thing as toxic leadership, but is a term people use because leadership is never toxic. But anyway, so when there's toxicity in the workplace, it's because there's some less than helpful behavior, shall we say. And so when you're in the drama triangle situation, say, for example, you're in a situation where deadlines have not been met. Now, the persecutor would attack and say, why have you not done that? That's not good enough. We need to sort this out, etc., and can be very defensive. So I'm going to talk a bit about the role, how we can switch that role. So the persecutor role would be very defensive and quite aggressive and blaming and judging and just not pleasant to be with. The winner's triangle perspective, when we are creating, is saying, okay, those results are not great. How can we make this better? So you start co-creating a new norm so that the individual doesn't feel completely threatened and under attack. Now, I appreciate that individual might not be performing. That's another issue which needs to be addressed. But in terms of the conversation perspective, it's changing that from the blaming to what can we create? How can we make this better? What resources do we need in order to improve? And so the rescuer would normally say, oh, I'll take that off you. I know you've got too much on. I'll take that off you because I know you're not capable, basically saying you're not capable of doing it, which often is the case of that. Sometimes we come to those situations, no one can do the job as well as I can. So you're completely overwhelmed, completely overburdened because you're not delegating. So that's a bit of a rescue behavior, in fact, that you're taking on all this work because of lack of trust in your team, or you just feel it's quicker to do it yourself. However, often when we do, if you think of a 5-minute task every day, that's a lot of 5 minutes over the year, which you could help one of your team to grow by giving them that task. So noticing when you're rescuing. So when a rescuer wants to whisk things away from people and take control, that's actually the positive winner's result of that is, how can I support you to get the task done? So again, it's the creation, it's the curiosity. What sort of resources do you need? It's a similar response. What resources do you need? And the victim who can't cope and is either having a stroppy moment saying, this is too much for me, I haven't got time, and can't do it, and I'm all very stressed and overwhelmed. The opposite, the winner's triangle approach is, okay, I haven't got enough resources right now. What do I need? Excuse me, that's a sneeze, which shows we're live. So it's again, what do I need? I need to help me be more empowered. So I need to feel more empowered. So who can I ask to help me? Who is there that we can, again, support me so I can co-create and lead with impact and influence? So that's my 5 minutes today of having a think about, notice when you start rescuing, because it's so easy when we're leading a team. We want everything to work well. And sometimes we don't realize we're doing it. We think we're being helpful by taking tasks off our colleagues or doing it ourselves and not delegating it, or, finding someone's having a challenging time, so let's just make their life easy. Now, I'm not saying we need to be compassionate always as a leader. So there might be times we need to take a project off someone because they're going through a lot of personal stuff, for example. However, notice if you're actually slipping into that rescue. So have a great weekend. I'll speak to you next week, and enjoy yourself and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye.